It happened on a Thursday morning that started out quiet and cool, the kind of morning where the air feels clean and the streets still remember the hush of dawn. I'd barely sipped my first coffee when I buttoned up a light gray shirt, tucked it into a pair of charcoal slacks, and stepped out the door. No tie, no watch, no briefcase. Just me. Just David. Just another middle-aged black man headed into a bank. The River Grove Trust's downtown branch sat on the corner of Ash and 3rd, all glass and stone, and the kind of sleek, impersonal design meant to inspire trust while saying as little as possible. I'd passed by it countless times, but that day was different. That day, I walked in through the front doors not as the interim CEO of the entire institution, but as a silent observer and anonymous customer on a personal errand. I wasn't there to make a statement. I was there to see. We've been getting complaints too many to ignore minority customers being treated differently, employees brushing it off as miscommunication, data looking fine on paper. But something felt off. And I've learned over the years that numbers don't always tell the truth. People do. The lobby was already buzzing. A man in a navy suit was being ushered into a private office. A young white woman in yoga pants was waved forward to a teller with a smile. I walked to the front desk and said, "Good morning." The receptionist didn't look up. "Take a seat. Someone will be with you." No eye contact. No welcome. Just a flat, cold instruction. So I sat. Time passed 5 minutes, then 10. A young Asian couple walked in and were directed to the chairs without a word. A Latino man in a work jacket was called up, only to be asked for 2 forms of ID and proof of employment just to cash a check. He looked tired, embarrassed. I watched all of it. I stayed still. By the time I was finally called over 35 minutes later, my back was tight from sitting so straight, so still. A young teller named Emily looked up. "Next." I stepped forward, nodded politely. "I'd like to withdraw $75,000 from my checking account." She blinked. "That's a large amount." "Yes, but it's well within the daily limit for my account," I said, handing her the slip and my ID. Her hands paused over the keyboard. Her eyes moved between my license and my face, slow and searching. She said she needed her supervisor. Of course she did. Rick came over white, paunchy, mid-50s, reeking of apathy. He took my ID from Emily like I wasn't even there. "What's going on?" "No problem," I said calmly. "Just making a withdrawal." Rick frowned at the screen. "Had some weird stuff lately with large withdrawals. Gotta be careful." "I understand security," I said, "but my identification is valid. I'd like to complete the transaction." He didn't answer. He waved over another teller. "Jason." Jason swaggered up like he was walking into a bar, gave me a once-over and smirked. "Maybe it's one of those settlements, huh?" I looked at him. "Excuse me." He shrugged. "You know, big payout, lawsuit kind of thing." My hands stayed still, but something inside me clenched. I'm a long-time customer. This isn't how anyone should be spoken to. He leaned back. "We're just doing our job, man. Calm down." "I am calm," I said, voice steady. "The question is, are you assuming I'm not?" Rick stayed silent. Emily stared at her envelopes like they held the secrets of the universe. Jason chuckled. That's when Amanda Blake entered. She strode out of the back like a storm, heels clicking, blazer sharp. "Sir," she said, "this transaction isn't going to happen today. You're causing a disturbance." "I've spoken only to your staff," politely. "We have policies," she said, "and we reserve the right to refuse service." "You're making a mistake," I told her. "Security." She called it without blinking. Jason flinched. Rick looked away. Emily suddenly found her shoe fascinating. I reached into my pocket. Everyone tensed. Amanda stepped back. Jason froze. I pulled out my phone, pressed a button. "Greg," I said, "it's David. I'm at the downtown branch. They're escorting me out." Silence fell like a curtain. "They don't recognize me," I added. "They have no idea who I am." I ended the call. Amanda's face cracked just a little. Jason shifted his weight. Rick scratched his neck. Even the security guard hesitated. They were starting to feel it. The shift. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. My calm unsettled them more than rage ever could. That's when the front doors opened and Greg Matthews, our chief operating officer, walked in. Navy suit, sharp eyes, fire in his step. Amanda's mouth opened. "Mr. Matthews." He didn't look at her. He walked straight to me. "Are you all right?" "I am now," I said. He turned to the staff. "Do you know who this man is?" Amanda blinked. He said his name is David. He tried to withdraw a large amount. We followed protocol. You escalated a peaceful transaction, Greg said. You let your staff speculate. You authorized physical removal. You never once verified his role in this company. Jason paled. Rick sat down. Emily backed away. Amanda stammered. Greg looked at everyone. This man is David Langston, Interim Chief Executive Officer of Rivergrove Trust. He runs this company. The room froze. Someone gasped. Phones were still recording. I stepped forward. You judged me before you served me. You saw a black man withdrawing money and assumed fraud. You never asked. You never looked. You just decided. I looked at the security guard. You followed orders. I don't blame you. But next time look closer. He nodded. Quietly. Apologetically. Greg signaled his assistant. She tapped a tablet. The footage was already streaming to legal. Amanda stared at me, lips parted. But I said nothing more. I turned to Greg. Let's go. And we walked out. Not with rage, but with clarity. The next day, the board met. Silence filled the room as the footage played on a screen meant for quarterly growth charts. They saw every second of a dismissal, the assumptions, the smirks. They didn't speak until it ended. Is that really David? The chairman asked. Yes, said Karen from legal. And the story's already spreading. Terminations. Already in motion. Good. Amanda, Jason, Rick all gone by the following week. No ceremony. No statements. Just doors quietly closing. But that wasn't the victory. The victory was what came next. We launched a full internal audit. Not just policies, but culture. A new chief equity officer, Lisa Gwynn, was appointed, reporting directly to me. Training shifted from corporate speak to lived experience. Weeks later, I walked back into that same branch. Just to see. The receptionist smiled. Good morning, sir. How can I help you today? I nodded. Just visiting. A young Latino man filled out a deposit slip nearby. No one stared. A black woman helped an elderly white man set up his mobile banking. The energy had changed. Not perfect, but better. Upstairs, the name on Amanda's old office door had been replaced, Customer Equity Office. Inside, Lisa and her team were reviewing community outreach programs. Settling in? I asked. She smiled. Better than that. We're listening. People are sharing. And we're actually listening. On the way out, I paused by the same chair where I'd sat weeks earlier, silent, judged, dismissed. I didn't forget that feeling, and I never will. Not because it hurt, but because it mattered. Because the man who walks in next time shouldn't have to make a call to be treated with basic respect. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever been judged before being heard? Do you think this kind of quiet leadership is enough, or does it take more? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if stories like this matter to you. Because they matter to all of us.